Alright everyone, so this video is, in my opinion, I think if you're interested in recognizing patterns, I think this video would be interesting to you. So, hi, Nick Oldhead here. We like to run polls on our YouTube, that's you, and you guys sometimes vote, and you give me a little personal insight of, I wonder how the wind is swaying in Warcraft 3 opinion. And of course, this is an orc channel. I'm an orc player. I care when orcs are on the screen. So I asked which race is most oppressive to orcs and why, right? Great question. Great question. I personally am interested just reading the question again, right? And to me, this is insane. Apparently, y'all think undead is just like a super cool, chill matchup. And human is like, okay, like not that bad. But apparently night elf is the race that just does the most. But, you know, the more you read about this question, like, it's so vague. Is he talking lore? Is he talking like because, you know, look, I'm using like images from the lore, right? Or is he, because more oppressive to orcs? That's like language that isn't even about balance. So, of course, though, this is me. As I post on the subreddits, I'm not just going to do it with no context, Andy. So let's get into it. I know all matchups have their gripes and difficulties. Night Elf versus Undead historically has been pretty swingy over the game's history, and Human Mirror is like its own form of torture to many players. You can read it yourself, pause the video, and I personally think this is true. I think, look at a player like Starbuck. Starbuck literally learned Orc because he refuses to play Human Mirror, and I get it. It's a very demanding matchup, but someone who really loves this game, I love watching Human Mirror because it's like 40 minutes, some insane thing. Like all the worst games of Warcraft 3, I think in the history they've almost always been a Human Mirror. And I say worst with love. I mean like games in which both players are like, nuh-uh, I don't want to do anything. Well, I don't want to do anything. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep sending tanks. Well, I'll keep sending tanks until all the gold's gone, until everything's... I just love that. But, you know, we go over, and a lot of upvotes, people were interested. And I think it's interesting that, like, the Warcraft 3 subreddit, right, it was just, like, pretty friendly, right? As it happens, I played both Elf and Orc. This is so great. No wonder you get 47 upvotes, right? And without a doubt, the matchups where the other race feels most oppressive are Elf versus Orc and Orc versus Elf. See, this is the spirit of my poll. I believe that it feels when you're losing as Orc versus Elf, I think it feels very bad. And I think on the other foot, it's the same. When you're Elf and you're getting destroyed by Orc, it feels horrible. You're like, this is BS. How is the Blade Master allowed to exist? This is a unit that's dealing so much damage, right? See, but at the same time, orc players, we look at the Demon Hunter and it's like, is this game even fair? Look at the numbers. Look at how much one damage unit can do. Look at how, like, I have seen entire orc armies commanded by the best players in the game make correct decisions, and it's running away from a level 4 Demon Hunter. You just can't out-trade it. You just can't. You're going to lose value. You're going to lose units. All your units are going to take so much damage. So, like, I think this is a really interesting, like, player versus robot. We're not robots playing this game. We're humans. We literally play when drunk, right? Top upvoted thing. I think Warcraft 3, r/Warcraft 3 really does represent the Battle.net player, right? It really does represent all of us that play Warcraft 3 because, you know, we align ourselves with a race, and then, boy, when you hit ranked and it's 1-on-1 or even a 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and FFA, there's a distinct moment in which you see the races on the screen. And like that creates an immediate first assumption, and you're already thinking, what do I have to do? Because you know this game, and you know that your race has to react to their race. So I think that this subreddit gets that, and it's really fun to be like, oh, I used the Farseer against Night Elf, right? Now, see, here's the I'm going to use this comment to kind of piggyback off what I want to talk about maybe in about 2 minutes of the video, right? If you know Warcraft 3, you know that using Farseer against Night Elf is like bad feng shui, right? It's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, that's just not, you go Blade Master, like, you know, I mean, you can do it, but you better have a good reason. You better have like a thing you're doing. You better have a rush, a tower strategy. You better be doing something. But like in the r/Warcraft 3, this sort of conversation is met with Wisp detonate kills the wolves? Question mark. Look how friendly this is, right? And then look at this discussion. Nice. By the way, this is how you're supposed to talk about a game competitively, right? You're not supposed to dunk on someone just because they are trying to do something differently. Part of the reason we've been playing this game for decades is because Warcraft 3 actually is that deep. You know that like horrible thing people say, bro, it's not that deep. When we're discussing Warcraft 3, it actually, incidentally, is. It actually is that deep. And yeah, a lot of people have been trying to win at this game. And it's vexing and hard to do because it's an ever-evolving meta. So, as we talk about this, I mean, humans literally put the orcs in camps. Remember when I was talking earlier, I said this question in itself is a little biased because it's like, are you talking balance? It's like, hey, that's what makes it a fun question. And I actually bring in the context if I'm talking about the game's history and things like this, right? But I love how, you know, this is just a really fun read. If you like the game, I think this is a great expose as to why I think Warcraft 3 is such an expressive game, right? Because you have to introduce yourself. I'm around 800 MMR. I know everything this player writes. I have to, like, read it with, like, oh, really? Yeah, that's nice. And, like, help them, not dunk on them, right? Not dunk on them, because it's so cool that they're 800 MMR. This is a old school esports thing, guys. I don't know who put it in anyone's mind. The lower MMR you are, the cooler you are. And the more an actual esports person wants to interact with you, talk with you, play with you. Because that means you're like new, fresh meat. What? You're so new at the game? Only the kind of like, you know, I've been at the game 3 or 5 years. I'm kind of building my identity around it. I'm really salty. I'm like, get mad at when I get really angry when I lose. I take everything personally. That's actually a predictable, like, trap. It's an ego trap people get into. And then that sort of person in that trap would never even want to play with someone who's 800 MMR. And they would never even realize that the 800 MMR player is looking at the game through fundamentally different eyes. You can learn something. You can actually appreciate, and maybe through seeing how this human tries to solve the Warcraft 3 puzzle, find something that then allows you to go back to high like MMR land and really think about, oh man, how can I do this? By the way, shoutouts to the Hitman, I think, for doing that with human griffins. I think he's realizing human griffins are an issue, and Pit Lord's nice. So look, we talked about Warcraft 3. Now let's go over, because I'm a little bit of a satyr, right? I'm a little bit of a trickster. I'm like, what if we post the exact same question with the exact same text, and everything's the exact same, but it's just in the WC3 subreddit, right? Isn't that like a fun thing, right? The exact same copy. Exact same copy, right? And let's just say, let's go over some of the comments. Immediate fear. Listen, I don't have an input. I'm just a mid-level, I'm undead player. But oh, what a nice compliment, right? Like, look at how I think, like, this is so indicative of the sub. Like, guys, relax. It's okay. We can all talk about this game. And yes, I did go to school for poetry, so thank you for that. Oh wow, this is so nice. I didn't realize people were being nice about this. But look at this, look at this. I need to say, I'm about to dunk on this person a lot right now. But I need to say that I love this person. I am this person, right? All geared up. Your Reddit name is a Tinker quote, right? So already you and I are friends, right? But do you see the attitude that is so pervasive in this online gaming community, right? Like, it's immediate defensiveness. What are you talking about? Where do you see a problem here? Who's seeing a problem? Who's talking about problems, friend? You see, it's the immediate reflection that you start to notice when you've just been on this pale blue marble for many years. Like, I'm not talking problems, but we love the subreddit because WC3 is where we solve the problem of Warcraft 3. It is true, right? Like, this kind of vague post that it could be about lore, could be about so-and-so. When you post it in WC3, we're here to solve the puzzle that is Warcraft 3. So, you know, I believe, look, I now get it in with this person. And this guy's like, basically, people watch Grubby or Back to the Stream. It's not, okay, it's not their fault, really. Thank you for the condescension. It's not my fault, right? They just see Orc lose a bunch, and, yep, instant conclusion. You're right, isn't it always lovely how those making instant conclusions love to talk about others making instant conclusions? And then, you know, me, I'm gonna hit him back. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm really not. But, like, didn't the words in my post describe what I was talking about? I don't label it as a problem. I enjoy this game pretty, right? Look at me in my Warcraft 3 Ascendant arc. I'm like, brother, I'm attacking my interest in this game from multiple angles, brother, right? I've created a YouTube channel about this game in which we only talk about this game, right? I'm in it for the love. See, but you said it was swingy. Do you see what we're talking about here? It's like, yes, but what are we defending? Well, what we're defending is that the meta, right? The meta is this established idea of what wins, and the reason why that's important is because there's like tournaments at stake, right? There's money at stake, people's time at stake, our precious MMR, right? So when you try to even post something that's like pretty much a vague post, look, may I recall, same communities, right? But you know, one just gets treated a little differently. So let's read more, right? Mirror image is so broken anyway in the Blade Master. So, see, look, we also have to, wait a minute, we can't just dunk on the WC3 community. It is also home of nice students of the game, appreciators, right? So it's like, you know, that's the thing about esports. I've been an esports journalist. I love esports people, but sometimes we need to learn that our love of the game should not trump our love of people, right? Like, no, we love people more. No one's your enemy posting on the Warcraft 3 subreddit, right? No one is your enemy. But look at this. Look at this, right? Look at this. Learn to play. Watch some Hitman or Soin and see how you wreck NE. Then stop watching Grubby. Grubby is a pathetic balance fighter who was once very... Look at this. I literally make Warcraft 3 videos about Hitman. But, you know, I need to learn to play and watch some Hitman. See, I love this sort of energy because, like, it exists in me as well, right? Like, I'm a Redditor. I'm an esports person. The reason I love this so much is because, like, I think when I was younger, I probably spoke this way about StarCraft when it first came out. I honestly think someone, if they're really good, can find my forum post about StarCraft balance and the way in which I spoke about this game as like a teenager, not realizing that there was like, you know, there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger fish. So, you know, learn to play. Come on, man. Listen, unless you are in the victory screen and the opponent says Durazion, I will not accept someone saying learn to play to me. Like, however, 1v1 me right now. If you win, I will literally publish a video in which I am learning to play. You know what I mean? Like, this is the esports that makes this game so great. There shouldn't be much ego in it. The only ego that should exist is when you're winning and you want to win again. Because it's like, yeah, let's go again, right? Fun discussion. But I also think, there's just a larger point about, why does anyone care about this game anymore, right? It's so old. Why haven't we moved past it, right? Why are there people still responding positively? Though, it is interesting, right? I personally think it's because Warcraft 3 and many games like it, they're just deep enough to care, right? They're deep enough to care. And when you realize that, then you ultimately realize that Warcraft 3 is just like a place in which humans go to be passionate about something, right? So I personally love the cosplayers of the game. I love the mod makers of the game. I love the custom game, the players, right? The Tower Wars people, the Footman Frenzy types, right? Like all of them are so valid, and yet they could not even come close to winning a 1v1 game of Warcraft 3. And I just think part of, and I've worked in the esports media machine for a while. Part of where esports will always and forever lose its way is when you forget that these two communities are actually linked. It's very important that you have the majority goofballs that are loving this game for all sorts of reasons and talk in a language like, I feel annoyed and scared. Do you see, we're playing video games made by artists, right? Whereas other communities that I also delve in, hyperlogical communities, the moment you present them something, the immediate reaction is defensiveness, and it's like, I'm not attacking your thing. Let's upvote again. I'm not attacking your favorite toy. No one's taking it away. And I really think that's what it all comes down to, right? I was old enough to live through a lot of Gamergate-induced panic in this industry. And as someone who was just writing during the time, it was always very difficult to see otherwise keen, cool, and collected gamers succumb to the hysteria that the thing they love is under attack. When it's like, nope. Unless someone is in your house taking your copy of Warcraft 3, you're fine, right? So, anyways, this has been a fun video. Hope you liked it. If you like me posting on Reddit with polls, then hey, you're in the right place. You just got to react and vote in the next poll you see on this channel. So if you like the video, subscribe, comment, and above anything else, play Warcraft 3, because if you're watching this channel, right, that's kind of what you want to be doing, right? In some weird way, don't you yearn for Warcraft 3? And yet the game is just so stressful. Anyway, see you guys later. Peace.